The Chicago Bulls have finally made a much-needed roster move to add shooting to this team, three-point shooting, and now they've converted their two-way contract in Onuralp Bitim to a multi-year contract. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod for all social media platforms. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So the Chicago Bulls have made a move that furthers kind of something I talked about in today's daily episode. I talked about how it seemed like head coach Billy Donovan was going to be playing the young players in Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips more per his own comments. Well, the Chicago Bulls, we all know, needed three-point shooting. Last night was really evident of that, and the Bulls added a three-point shooter. Rather than going into the buyout market and signing a veteran like a Joe Harris or somebody like that, the Bulls have now invested into Onuralp Bitim, who was on a two-way contract, converting his contract now to a multi-year NBA deal. That means that the deal isn't fully guaranteed, but it is multi-year, meaning that he is going to be on this team and part of this Bulls rotation going forward. When the Bulls went out and got Onuralp Bitim, he came from the EuroLeague as being one of their premier isolation scorers and the ability to put the ball on the floor, pass, defend, was an active defender, and stretch the floor. And while the G League season for him started off a little rocky, in which he was shooting like 27% from three-point range, he's since gone on to completely turn that around. In 12 games in the G League, he's averaging 16.7 points per game. He's doing that on 46% shooting from the field and also 43% shooting from three-point range. He's taking 7.5 three-pointers per game. Considering that the shots per game he's taking is 13, over half his shots are coming from the three-point line, and he's hitting that at an elite level as far as the percentage-wise. Now, it remains to be seen if he's going to be able to do that at the NBA level, but the Bulls are now going to get 26 remaining games to take a look at what he looks like out there with Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, who can drive, Alex Caruso who gets out there as well and can pass the ball. But outside of just the scoring aspect of it, he's also averaging 4 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game, and right under a steal per game. Onuralp Bitim is not a player that you can say is a lockdown defender by any stretch of the imagination, but he is an active defender, and he's somebody who does not back down on the defensive side of the ball at all. He brings legit size at his position, being able to play both small forward and shooting guard at 6'6", 215 pounds. This guy is a guy who, like I said, when we recruited him, he's a guy who can absolutely outright score the basketball and shoot. Now, he's not going to be a high-volume scorer. At least he doesn't shape up to be that. But the fact is that this right now means that the Bulls' young players development is going to be something that is focused on it, and he's going to get minutes. And so Bitim is a part of this Bulls' future, and some people even suggested when he came in that maybe he was the long-term replacement at the 3 for DeMar DeRozan if they do look on to something. Now, we're a far way away from being able to say something like that, but listen, he is a threat, and he is going to be able to stretch the ball. Now, how much Billy Donovan is going to play him remains to be seen. We know with Billy Donovan, he goes with players that he trusts first, but I think this is a smart move. Rather than going out and getting a veteran like Joe Harris or Marcus Morris or anybody like that, the Bulls get somebody who was in their development staff, who they brought over from EuroLeague and always seemed invested in what he can turn into as an NBA player. This is the smartest thing for for the Chicago Bulls for me. Rather than give a veteran a remainder of a contract that you're not going to end up re-signing and that chemistry that they build with the team really isn't worth it, this is a move for your future and him being able to build some chemistry with parts that are going to be on your team. One of the things, everything that Patrick Bev brought to the Chicago Bulls was needed, right? We talked about last year the Pat Bev effect and all of that, and it was great to see. But the thing is that it was always that question on if Pat Beverly is going to be a re-sign with the Bulls. The Bulls ended up not re-signing him. You don't have that now with Bitim. You've given him a multi-year contract. You get to see how he builds chemistry with your other young players that are emerging as well. And now you get to look at Bitim for 26 games, build that chemistry, practice with you, travel with you. With in an offseason that it does not seem like the Bulls are going to be able to offer a lot of change, right? Because we're so up close to that luxury tax. You now are looking at your development going forward. And so, like I don't want to overstate it or act like Bitim is going to all of a sudden come in and average 15 minutes and 12 points per game or anything like that for the Bulls. But this is an important move, and this shows kind of a changing of the mindset. The Bulls in their last 2 buyout seasons basically have added players in Tristan Thompson and Pat Bev, players that were over the hill in a lot of ways, still could contribute more so Pat Bev than Tristan Thompson. But this signifies you are now investing in the young player that's on your team, and you've made this move now. And to me, this signifies that this is the three-point shooting that the Bulls are trying to add. Let's see how it pays off. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you see this signing as something that can help the Bulls? Do you see, like me, as something that's also for the future? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.